Blood and Snow is a 40-page module made by Runehammer Games, which consists of Brandish Gilhelm, with additional art by Roger Heal and writing by Kelsey Dionne of Arcane Library. The overall setting of the world is grim. It's more or less 10,000 BCE Earth, but you can put the setting in any world you want to. The premise is that your PC is a seeker or stalwart tribesperson in a harsh and cold pre-civilization environment. There is no magic. There are no gods. There are no monsters, at least of any truly mythical nature. And there are no supernatural events. Probably the only serious artistic license is taken with what is called the Splinter Species, a list of 5 humanoid species based loosely on actual fossil records associated with our human ancestors. There is one particular note of interest, and it is that this module acts as a self-contained adventure engine, meaning you can print it out and roll each of the tables contained in it to produce an entire adventure with very diverse characters and events, all without needing to consult any outside books. Probably the only thing that Blood and Snow doesn't provide is very many examples of Megafauna, those large prehistoric creatures which stand in as your main adversaries in Blood and Snow, besides the weather and the terrain and other humanoid species and your lack of supplies. The reason this module doesn't contain a full glossary of megafauna is rooted in the movement that Brandish Gilhelm at Runehammer Games has helped to pioneer. The do-it-yourself game design was meant to give you the tools and the inspiration and then get out of the way. Obviously, this approach to RPGs is not for everyone. There are players out there who don't want a 40-page primer like this one, but rather a 250-page manual full of descriptions and elaborate art, and that's fine. But for those of you who don't have the time or inclination to read heavy tomes, Blood and Snow is a fascinating morsel of themed adventure set in the DIY world. For those of you already familiar with the ICRPG system, there are a couple of interesting tweaks on the core rules that Blood and Snow asks of you. The first one is how armor works. Instead of adversaries rolling against your armor class to hit you, they roll against the room number. That means everyone, PCs and enemies, is rolling against the room number to hit. The rationale for this is that in the Pleistocene era, there was no armor that could deflect a hit. The result is that it's potentially easy to hit, and then it's easy to get hit. Another thing about armor, it breaks, so when the PCs take damage, they can choose to allocate that damage to their hit points or to their equipment. And depending on what that equipment is made of, it's difficult or impossible to repair. This goes back to one of the central themes of Blood and Snow, which is deadliness. That can be a turnoff for players who want continuity with their characters, or for GMs who want longer story arcs. But therein lies the beauty of the DIY RPG movement. No one is bound to the rules. You tailor the game to what best suits you and your players and your style of play. Without giving too much away, it's worth noting that there is an overarching story or main narrative thrust in Blood and Snow. Or I should say, there is the suggestion of a main mystery for players to solve. But with the amount of content contained in the tables, as well as the 12 separate story possibilities written by Kelsey Dionne of Arcane Library, GMs have a lot of choice in how to run a Blood and Snow campaign. This module is not available through commercial avenues, at least not yet. Currently, it's offered as a perk download for any Patreon supporters of Runehammer Games. Support levels start at $1, which gives supporters access not only to Blood and Snow, but dozens of pretty profound episodes of Brandish Gilhelm's RPG podcast called RPG Mainframe. If you'd like to know more about the index card RPG community, check out the official Runehammer forum with links in the description below. There, you will find a model community of DIY RPG players and game masters who use the ICRPG system. And maybe there you can find some folks to play Blood and Snow with. Until next time, this is Dave signing out. See ya!